Today's show is all about round 2 of the Tokyo Princess Cup. Who's moving on, who will they face, and which matches are yet to come. Outside of the Cup, we'll also preview the Tokyo Idol Festival matches, check out Kira-sama's Australian debut, chat about my time at Kitsune, and wish a very happy birthday to Mifu Ashida. All that and more coming up on the Tokyo Joshi Pod. Stay tuned. Hello to all you big children out there. Konnichiwa, and welcome to the Tokyo Joshi Pod, your weekly dose of everything TJPW. I'm your host, Andy Zyke, and guys, it has been a hot week here in Southern California. It has been reaching as high as 100 degrees, sometimes more in my neck of the woods. It has been unbearable. Truthfully, I haven't been leaving my house, besides just like a quick walk of the dog or like a run to the supermarket, but I did attend a Kitsune show over the weekend. We're going to chat a little bit about that later on today, but I want to start just with a quick housekeeping note. I wanted to plan a bonus episode around my time at Kitsune, but unfortunately, my plans just didn't end up working out the way I had hoped they would, and that's okay. It happens. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. That's why I was thinking of some alternative ideas as well, and obviously, it is now the end of July as you're listening to this, so we skipped a monthly bonus episode for July. But for August, I think I'm going to release a beginner's guide episode on the Tokyo Princess Cup, since that'll be pretty topical. We're still in the midst of the Tokyo Princess Cup. I think it would be cool to do a little bit of a beginner's guide, just what it is, what the winner normally gets, who the previous winners have been, a little bit about the history of the cup, all that fun stuff. I also have a fun idea with AEW's All In on the horizon a little bit later on. I think it's at the end of August. Basically, what I'm thinking of doing is looking back at TJPW in AEW and some of the excursions that have happened in AEW. We know the likes of Miyu Yamashita has wrestled in AEW. Obviously, Yuka Sakazaki, she's a full-time roster member of AEW. I believe we've also had Maki Ito back in the day and maybe a handful of others. But I'm thinking that might be a fun little thing to do just to theme the month of August around All In, because All In is such a big AEW show. So keep your eyes out for those 2 episodes, more on those bonus episodes to come. On today's show, we've got a lot to cover, per usual. Half of the second round of the Tokyo Princess Cup went down last weekend, and we got some big surprises. We had some great matches as well. I'm really excited to unpack all of that with you guys. We also have to preview the second half of the second round, which that's also shaping up to be pretty good on paper. I think that show is going to be quite good. Beyond that, we're going to talk my time at Kitsune, like I said. We also have a Kira Summer excursion match to review. Quite a surprising one at that. And then to round it all out, we also have to talk about the Tokyo Idol Festival collaboration, which is happening this weekend. That one's a little bit wild, so you're going to want to stay tuned to hear some of those matches. But thank you all so much for hitting the download button or your streaming button on the episode today. I always say I appreciate each and every one of you. It's been really great to meet some of you in person at shows this year. I know I've talked to a couple of you guys in Texas, in Vegas, even this weekend at Kitsune. I'm always very appreciative of all of you guys for tuning in. If you do ever see me at a show, please don't be a stranger. Come on up and say hi. I am always game for a chat about TJPW or truthfully any wrestling for that matter. And I still have stickers. So if you do happen to see me, I'm going to be at the Kitsune show next month as well. Don't be a stranger. Come on over and say hi. That said, we've got a lot to chat about today. So alert Raku, because this train is officially leaving the station. In the news this week, the Up Girls made an appearance in DDT Pro Wrestling on Sunday, the 26th of July. There was a show called Rockin' Ring, One Hit and You're Down. And the Up Girls arrived during the pre-show of this event. This was at Corcoran Hall. The Up Girls arrived during the pre-show to promote the upcoming Love and Peace events, which are the Tokyo Idol Festival collaborations. While they were sharing all of the details about the collaboration and the Idol Festival with the crowd at Corcoran Hall, Antonio Honda showed up and he kind of crashed the party, and he did his typical Antonio Honda bit. He attempted to tell a story about his little fox. I'm sure you guys know the deal by now with Honda. Naturally, the Up girls were thrilled to hear the story about the little fox. Raku even had to cover Uta's precious little ears. It was so obscene for Uta's ears. Honda ended up poking Miyu and Uta with the little fox, but Raku, ever the crafty Raku, one step ahead, she blocked the little fox attack, and then she sang Honda's little fox to sleep. I will get to the point on why this is newsworthy right now, because Antonio Honda is the current Ironman Heavymetalweight Champion, and after Raku sung the little fox to sleep, also Antonio Honda fell asleep as well, she pinned Antonio Honda, and Raku is the new and current DDT Ironman Heavymetalweight Champion. She is the 1,884th champion. A wild sequence of events. I saw it on Twitter. It is also on Wrestle Universe. All of the DDT shows are on Wrestle Universe. Just search for the July 26th event, Rock and Ring. In other news, it has been announced that Shion Kanzaki is going to be getting a homecoming show. On Monday, October 12th, there's a show that will be titled Shion Kanzaki Homecoming, Choshi, Are You Awake? Choshi being the name of the area that she's from. This will happen in Choshi City, in the Chiba Prefecture, at the Sayun Banquet Hall, at the Inubosaki Hotel. Really exciting that Shion is going to be getting a homecoming show so soon into her career. I think that Ren Kanatsu got one, but I don't think that it was a themed homecoming show. I think they just happened to stop in the area where Ren is from. So she didn't have a truly themed homecoming show the way that Shion is going to here. But this is really exciting. Obviously, TJPW does homecoming shows quite a bit for their talents. They also announced that they're going to be heading back to Gunma, and Mahiro Kiryu is going to be having a homecoming show. And then off the top of my head, earlier this year, we had a Suzume homecoming show, Yamashita, Shoko Nakajima, Arisu Endo, Mifu Ashida. So this is kind of a recurring thing that TJPW likes to do. And it's always a delight because when they're on the road and just kind of doing, I don't think they call them house shows, but that's kind of the generally agreed upon term. When they're doing house shows in between their big events, it's always nice to theme them a certain way and just adds a little bit of extra flavor to the shows. So very, very exciting for Shion Kanzaki to get a homecoming show again. October 12th. It's a Monday. That's a holiday in Japan. That's why it's on a Monday. But Shion Kanzaki getting her very first homecoming show. And then lastly, bit of a lighter piece of news to end on. We have a birthday coming up this weekend, in fact. On Sunday, August 2nd, Mifu Ashida will be celebrating her 29th birthday. So a very happy birthday to Mifu Ashida. Mifu is such a joy to watch in the ring. I think she's been progressing, in particular with her strikes and her kicks. She's been progressing so much since she joined TJPW. I think it was the beginning of 24 or 23 now. You guys are probably like, how do you not know this? Sometimes things blend together, guys. It's been a long week. But Mifu Ashida, very, very happy birthday to Mifu Ashida this weekend. I've had a chance to meet Mifu once in Texas. She's a delight. She's such a lovely person. She's a great social media follow as well. So my best wishes to Mifu Ashida on Sunday the 2nd as she celebrates her 29th birthday. Onward to our event of the week, the 13th annual Tokyo Princess Cup, Round 2, what I am calling Part 1. That is not a part of the official name, but TJPW did decide to split Round 2 into 2 shows. It's the only round that they're splitting into 2 shows like this. This first part happened last Saturday on July 25th from the Azalea Taisho Hall in Osaka. This is one of the venues that has an awkward camera angle. TJPW runs this venue quite a bit. This show was live on Wrestle Universe, as all of the Tokyo Princess Cup shows are. And it was a little over 2 hours, about 2 hours, 20 minutes, I think, is what I clocked it at. Kira Summer was absent. She was still on her Australian excursion. She will be on her Australian excursion for a few more weeks. And then in terms of attendance for this one, TJPW had a full house. They drew 264 attendees. The last time TJPW was here, just back in May, so not too long ago, where they drew 268. So about a 4-person decrease, but you're talking a rounding error at that point. We opened up with Rise Shirai giving the opening remarks and the house rules, and then the Up girls came out and they sang Babyface. I don't think we've heard Babyface in quite a while. I like that they're kind of rotating through some of the older catalog of songs. The opening match was a 6-woman tag team match. Yuki Kamifuku teamed up with Shion Kanzaki and Mifu Ashida. They took on the team of recently debuted Momosato, Haru Kazushiro, and Uda Takami. Momo and Kamiyu started out. They tussled pretty quickly, and then Kamiyu stood up and she asked just how old Momosato really was. And when Momosato responded that she was only 15, Kamiyu couldn't quite believe it. She turned around, she asked Haru and Uda what their ages were, and then once they said that they were 18, 19 respectively, she fainted in the middle of the ring. She just realized quite how old she was, and that was the only opportunity that the younger team needed. They went right on the attack as she fainted to the mat. Shion and Uda jumped in a little bit to help out. Of course, it was Mifu just kind of cheering on her teammates while Shion was doing her Ganbare spot in the corner. So there's a lot of cheering, a lot of chanting going on. Those two eventually legally tag into the match, and then they start to bring the fight to Momosato. Haru and Shion have a little bit of a moment together that's followed up by Mifu and Haru, and then Mifu and Uda. Kamiyu eventually works her way back in, feeling a little more rejuvenated, but she gets worked over by Uda. Uda tags out to Momosato again. Those two start to trade offense, Momo and Kamiyu. Kamiyu hits a brainbuster. Things start to break down a little bit briefly with the other 4 women kind of taking turns eliminating each other. That's kind of how they do it with these 6-woman tags. Kamiyu then puts the octopus stretch on Momosato. She taps out in 9 minutes and 17 seconds. My big takeaway with this match is that TJPW has such a good next generation group, and truthfully, Kamiyu worked really well with all of them. I wonder, at least during the Princess Cup, if we're going to see Kamiyu mixing it up with the younger generation and kind of imparting some of her wisdom onto some of the younger ladies. I think that's a really good use of Kamiyu while she's not in the Tokyo Princess Cup. It gives her something fun to do, and we get great moments like the whole "how old are you" bit and the fainting bit. Just a fun way for Kamiyu to kind of bide some time on her road to retirement until we start to get to some of the more meatier matches. Next up, we had a 3-way contest: Raku versus Sakura Hattori versus Ren Kanatsu. Ren entered with an extra sheep this time, and her and Raku decided to play man in the middle with it, and Sakura was the man in the middle here, the woman in the middle, and she could really care less about all of this sheep business, about all of this, playing games like this here, these schoolyard games. She ended up slapping the sheep out of the ring, and then Sakura and Raku decided to make Ren kind of run the ropes back and forth, but then it was Sakura who got tired, and then Sakura collapsed to the ring. I didn't really know what they were going for here. It's a little bit confusing in the early going. Obviously, they were trying to play for comedy. Ren and Raku hit the Oyasumi Express on Sakura, and then Sakura is tossed out of the ring. Raku and Ren then decide to go at it for a little bit until Sakura pulls Raku out of the ring. Sakura and Ren then go at it as the camera awkwardly catches Raku just standing outside and watching them. She just stood there for quite a while. Ren tried some sheep keychain trickery, but Sakura just squeezed the sheep in her hand and then she punted it into the audience. The poor sheep in this match. Ren, who was now sheepless, ate some stiff kicks as Raku just continued to stand outside and watch. The camera kept picking up Raku just standing outside. I don't think that was supposed to happen. She finally comes back into the ring. She has a sheep in hand, and then she clubs Sakura over the head with the sheep. She also gets a Popo chop to the head while Raku and Ren have a prolonged exchange. Sakura eventually comes back in, just kicking the crap out of everybody, single-handedly fighting both Ren and Raku. Somehow, Raku gets in a double guillotine choke. That was pretty impressive, I have to say. Ren hits a double Kanatsu crush. That was also pretty impressive. Sakura dodges the Ares Comet, but then gets hit with just a standard drop kick instead. Raku then comes almost out of nowhere and surprises Ren with a sling blade, and then she hits the Dr. Yellow, and Raku wins this match in 7 minutes and 57 seconds. This one was a little bit all over the place and not in a great way. I don't know what they were going for at the beginning with Ren running the ropes and then Sakura collapsing. The sheep keychain stuff is fun. It's cute. We saw it last week with Miyu Watanabe. I think that's a good bit for Ren to be doing. Just kind of gives some purpose for having the sheep keychains with her. Of course, Raku's going to play for comedy probably 85% of the time. And Sakura is great as like the straight character to play off of the comedy and like not like just have the comedy bounce off of her. But if you like comedy, you'll probably like it. But it was probably not the one I would point to if it was like the funniest match. We then had an 8-woman tag team match, and this is going to be a bit of a preview of our second half round 2 matches. On one side, we have the Princess of Princess champion Yuki Arai, the International Princess champion Suzume, Miyu Watanabe, one half of the Princess Tag Champions, and then Mahiro Kiryu, and they took on the team of Yuki Aino, Shoko Nakajima, Pam Harajuku, and Toga. The previews are as follows. Arai is set to face Shoko, Suzume set to face Pam, Miyu Watanabe set to face Yuki Aino, and then Mahiro and Toga set to face each other. Shoko and Arai started this out with a little bit of mat grappling. Shoko tagged out to Pam, who had a giant printout of the bracket with her, and she was spending some time educating Arai and how they could meet each other in the quarterfinals, and Arai was like, man, I hope that doesn't happen. So Pam tried to hit her over the head with this bracket, but Arai dodged it. The bracket ricocheted off the ropes. It hit Pam in her own head. After a few big boots, Arai tagged in Miyu Watanabe, who got a quick assist from Suzume. Then Mahiro comes in. All of this is happening against Pam. Toga eventually entered for a preview of her and Mahiro. Then we get Miyu and Aino meeting with some very aggressive shoulder tackles, some loud grunts from the two of them. And then lastly, Suzume and Pam, with Suzume very quickly, very easily gaining the advantage over our 3-year-old. Pam ended up rolling through a crossbody and she hit the Pam to justice. She tagged in Shoko, who just ran and shoved Arai off the apron, caught a stray there. And then Shoko ends up having a terrific exchange with Suzume, which included a Gori Bomb from Suzume and multiple 619s from Shoko. Shoko actually hit a 619 as Suzume was up on the top corner. Thought that was really cool looking. Shoko tried to go for a tope against Suzume, but Arai ran in and blocked it with a big boot. She then hit a spinning brainbuster on Shoko. Suzume followed that up with a corner facebuster, but Shoko managed to block the ring-a-bell. Pam jumped back in. She had the bracket in hand once again. She was there just long enough to distract Suzume as Shoko pins her with the Northern Lights suplex, pins Suzume in 13 minutes and 45 seconds. And while our winners were celebrating after the match, Shoko was pointing at the bracket and she was trying to educate Pam that they could meet in the quarterfinals, depending on how the round 2 matches go. And Pam was so terrified that she booked it out of the hall. Speaking of tournament matches, our next 4 matches were all second-round matches in the Tokyo Princess Cup. We started off with a contest between Arisu Endo and Chika Nanase. These two have met twice before head-to-head. Arisu has taken both of those contests. Arisu advanced, defeating Sakura in the first round. Chika had a bye into the second round. Chika started out pretty strong here. She grounded Arisu in a headlock. She started to match Endo's speed pretty well and then hit her with an elbow drop. Arisu eventually fought her way back with a drop kick. The two of them started to trade some power-based offense. Chika nearly got the Inari Tori in, but Arisu muscled out. She countered it into a camel clutch, but Chika slipped out of that. She again tried for the Inari Tori. They were grappling back and forth quite a bit, hit a few forearms, hit a few elbows. Arisu nailed a thrust kick and then a water wheel suplex, and then she managed to pick up the submission victory with the camel clutch in 8 minutes and 40 seconds. A fairly easy victory for Arisu. I think that was to be expected. I think a lot of people thought once she advanced past Sakura that Chika would be a little bit of an easier pickings for her. She will move on, Arisu will move on and face the winner of our next match, Wakana and Himawari. So Wakana and Himawari, these two have actually met twice before as well. Wakana winning both of those contests. One of those was a victory in the finals of the Next Gen Tournament 2023. Wakana advanced in the first round, defeating Mifu Ashida. Himawari got a bye into the second round. They started out pretty even until Himawari decided to start busting out some hair whips. She had a nice counter into a leg submission. Then she began like choking Wakana with the braids while she had the leg submission in. Wakana didn't really appreciate that too much. She brought the fight back to Himawari in the form of some drop kicks, some elbows. She also locked in a neck scissors, but Himawari did the bit where she reached the ropes with her hair. After a bit of traded offense, Wakana hit a suplex, put Himawari into the banana pillow. Himawari reaches the ropes using her actual body this time, and then she tried for a natural selection, but Wakana dodged that. She went right back into the banana pillow. Himawari rolled through it. It was really good show of strength from Himawari. She rolled out of the banana pillow and into a half crab. Wakana somehow countered that into a roll-up. She got 2. They came up slugging each other with forearms. Himawari came out on top of that battle. She hit a reverse natural selection. She did try to go for the Sunflower Tempest, but Wakana stuffed that into an enziguri. They roll around a little bit more with Himawari getting the half crab locked in once again. She decided to wrench it all the way back in deep, and Wakana tapped out at 11 minutes and 28 seconds. Immediately after, Himawari extended a hand for a handshake, but Wakana bit her hand, so Himawari decided to hair whip her out of the ring. A surprising victory. I'd really even go as far as calling this an upset. Truthfully, I love Himawari. She is one of my favorites in TJPW, but I didn't see her beating Wakana here. Wakana is very quickly sliding down a slippery slope now. She lost her International Princess title challenge. Now she's bowing out in the second round of the Princess Cup. I'm not, going to write her off here or anything. I think it's just an interesting booking. She was really riding such strong momentum heading into her International Princess title challenge, but alas, bows out here in the second round of the Princess Cup. Himawari will face Arisu Endo in the quarterfinals. That match, pretty interesting. I'm really looking forward to that one. Next up was the matchup between Mizuki and Hyper Misao. These two have met 3 times before, with Mizuki winning all 3 of those prior meetings. Mizuki defeated Raku in the first round, and Misao got a first round bye. Now, before this match got started, Misao, she had like a letter with her, and she handed that letter over to Mizuki. She instructed her to read it aloud, so Mizuki grabbed a microphone, began to read the letter aloud, and it said that Misao is disgusted in herself. She's brought a lot of shame onto herself, becoming such an underhanded wrestler who cheats all the time. And she vowed that in this tournament, she is going to be reborn. She will be a new Hyper Misao. Misao said that she wrote this letter to Mizuki because she knew that Mizuki wouldn't believe her if she just said it in her own voice. So that's where this grand gesture of writing this letter is coming from. Once she read the letter, Mizuki repeatedly tried to ambush Misao before the match started out, but Misao is like, no, I'm reborn. I will not stand for any of this trickery. She instructed the referee to ring the bell and then immediately ambushed Mizuki herself. Naturally, that led to a variety of cheating at the hands of Misao. She kicked the referee at one point. She blindfolded Mizuki using her cape. Then she started to remove one of the corner pads. Yes, we were doing that again. Mizuki just gets abused with the corner pad. She somehow is able to wrestle it away from Misao's grasp. She tried to go for her running face wash attack, but Misao wiggled on out of the ring, trapped Mizuki in the ring skirt. Mizuki, though, she was just as crafty here. She ended up bringing Misao into the ring skirt with her. Misao escaped. She rolled up Mizuki into the skirt. She continued cheating using the ring skirt. She also had her cold spray with her. She sprayed some of that in Mizuki's face. She then starts working on Mizuki's arm, and Mizuki has barely gotten in any offense in this match. And I think this was around the time where Rise called the 5-minute mark, and this was basically all Misao in the early going. Mizuki continued to try to fight back. She dodged a couple of Misao's attacks. She eventually landed a top rope arm breaker, that running face wash, and then a crossbody. They end up on the outside of the ring once again. Mizuki landed another crossbody dive, this time out to the floor, but she was really selling her arm. All of the Misao attacks to the arm were really starting to affect her. Back inside, Misao landed a Haipami returns in the corner. They traded some forearms, and they traded some submissions. Misao landed a second Haipami returns for 2. Then the I Am a Hero dive, that also got 2. She missed a third Haipami returns, which Mizuki countered into a foot stomp. That only got 2. They traded multiple roll-ups back and forth until Misao managed a La Magistral cradle for the victory in 13 minutes and 38 seconds. Talk about surprises. I don't think anybody had Misao advancing in their brackets. She wrestled for her life in this one. Now, of course, she cheated quite a bit. It's Hyper Misao, but I was really impressed. There was some great wrestling out of Hyper Misao here, and we really don't see that too often. I know that friend of the show, Matt Turner from Talk Joshi, picked Mizuki to win it all, so unfortunately, Matt, your bracket is now busted. Hyper Misao will await the winner of our main event. And that main event saw a singles contest between two pillars, two people from TJPW's very early beginnings. Miyu Yamashita took on Rika Tatsumi. These two have also met 3 times before, and all of those victories going to Miyu Yamashita. Miyu Yamashita advanced out of the first round, defeating Uda Takami, really took her head off with a lot of kicks. Rika Tatsumi getting the first round bye. Literally from the bell, Rika immediately tried to lock in the figure 4, but Yamashita reached the ropes. Rika just went to town on Yamashita's legs in the early going. She was wasting no time getting everything going here. Yamashita ended up wrestling Rika down to the mat. They started to grapple around on the mat, kind of amateur style is how I would describe that, until Rika snuck a choke in, of course, classic Rika. Yamashita bailed to the outside to recover. Rika charges with a top rope dive, but Miyu kicked her in the shin before she was able to dive to knock her off the ropes. They both end up on the outside, and Yamashita just starts kicking Rika all over the front row. Back inside, she gets in the Cobra Clutch, and as Rika tries to power out, she just starts kneeing her in the gut. Just really nasty work from Yamashita. Rika does manage to get free. She hits a hip attack. She catches a Yamashita kick and turns it into a corkscrew leg whip, and then just continues working over Yamashita's legs. It's a smart strategy. Yamashita's all about kicking her opponents. Well, she can't do that if her legs are in pain. Rika puts on the figure 4 again. They start rolling around on the mat, kind of alternating who's applying the pressure. Rika then misses another hip attack. She falls victim to a return crush and some more kicks from Yamashita. Truthfully, they really only fired her up even more. She started answering all of these kicks with a lot of hip attacks. Of course, Yamashita never one to back down from a fight herself, so they started trading kicks and hips until Miyu quite literally kicked Rika's ass. Rika tried for the twist of fate. Yamashita stuffed it. She hit a skull kick, which sent both women down to the mat. They did the slow, dramatic forearm battle. Yamashita came out on top of that. She missed another kick, and Rika took advantage with a very quick twist of fate. She climbed up to the top for a missile hip, but Yamashita met her with a kick. Yamashita tried to go for an avalanche attitude adjustment. Rika countered that into a choke, and then she had the White Dragon Sleeper locked in on the top of the corner. Rika charged, hit another hip attack. She missed a missile hip, but then tried to go for another hip attack, which Yamashita countered into a German suplex. Yamashita connected with the attitude adjustment, but Rika kicked out at 2, and Yamashita was real pissed at this point. They traded hip attacks and kicks once again. Yamashita missed a Crash Rabbit Heat. Rika hopped onto her back in a sleeper, which she transitioned into the White Dragon Sleeper. And after they tussled around a little bit, Yamashita nearly escaped it a couple times. Rika just would not let go of that White Dragon Sleeper. Yamashita eventually taps out, and Rika gets the submission victory in 17 minutes and 47 seconds. Afterwards, they shake hands, they bow to one another. Rika gets on the microphone to close out the show. She says that Yamashita just is not human in the ring, but outside of the ring, she's actually quite the lovable goofball. She finds strength in beating Yamashita, and she believes that she can win the Tokyo Princess Cup this summer. An excellent, excellent main event. Rika finally gets her win over Yamashita for the first time in 12, 13 years since the company started. I did pick Rika to win this matchup. I will flex a little bit there, but after a performance like this, I wouldn't be surprised if she wins the entire tournament. This was one heck of a match, and she'll have a tough road. She'll have to make it through Misao in the quarterfinals for that to come true, and we just saw Misao have probably the match of her year so far. But yeah, I think this is totally a wide open door for Rika Tatsumi now. Of course, there's a number of other very talented competitors and very strong contenders to win the tournament still in the bracket, but there was something about this matchup that just stood out to me. Obviously, it was tremendous, but just something about this that stood out to me that I thought they were really spotlighting Rika. I wouldn't be shocked if Rika goes all the way. Overall, really good first half to round 2. Some terrific matches. Some big time surprises. I would say this is a big step up from the opening round, which was mostly predictable. Nothing was bad. It was just very paint by numbers. I'm really curious to see where we go from here on the upcoming show, the second half of round 2, and then the quarterfinals. And in particular, I'm really curious where we go with Misao. I just thought the match that Misao had here was surprisingly great. And yeah, there was a lot of comedy, there was a lot of cheating, but it just felt like a very refreshing Misao match. So I'm really curious to see what that Misao and Rika match looks like for when we get to the quarterfinals. But before we get to the quarterfinals, we have to finish up round 2, the 13th annual Tokyo Princess Cup round 2, what I am dubbing part 2, will be taking place on Thursday, July 30th. Now, by the time you are listening to this episode, this event will have already happened. It is live on Wrestle Universe, so I won't share like the start times and everything because it's up there right now as you're listening to this. You can go and watch it. At the time of my recording, I have not had a chance to watch this yet, so we're going to preview it this week, and then on next week's show, we'll review the results. This show taking place at the Shinjuku Face, one of the final times that TJPW will be at the Shinjuku Face. Of course, Kira Summer still on Excursion, but this is the show where we have a big-time return, and let's start there with a tag match, which will see Haru Kazushiro and Miyu Yamashita teaming together to take on Mizuki and the returning Shino Suzuki. Very, very excited to see what Shino looks like after her hiatus. I hope that she is refreshed. I hope that she is healthy and feeling good, feeling great. It's going to be wonderful to see Shino Suzuki back inside the TJPW ring. We are also going to have a 6-woman tag team matchup. Yuki Kamifuku going to be teaming up with Sakura Hattori. They've teamed up a couple of times lately. Their third partner will be Momosato. On the other side of the ring, the team of Chika Nanase, Shion Kanzaki, and Ren Kanatsu will oppose them. Effectively, Kamiyu is trading Shion and Ren for Momosato here, going based on the match that we just talked about. Again, I like that Kamiyu is mixing it up with some of the younger generation. Sakura is not necessarily younger generation, but the likes of Momosato, Chika, Shion, Ren definitely can learn a thing or two from Kamiyu before she retires at the end of this year. We're also going to see an 8-woman tag. This one will see Rika Tatsumi, Arisu Endo, Wakana Uehara, and Uda Takami form a team. They will take on a team that's comprised of Hyper Misao, Raku, Himawari, and Mifu Ashida. This is going to function as a preview for 2 of our quarterfinal matches, Rika and Misao, and then Arisu and Himawari. And then, of course, we will round out this show with 4 singles matches from the other side of the bracket for round 2. Suzume will take on Palm Harajuku. These two have met only once before. Suzume picked up that victory, and funny enough, it was actually in the Tokyo Princess Cup back in 2022. So these two have a little bit of history in this Tokyo Princess Cup. I think that bodes well for Suzume, but Palm's always a wild card, and certainly now after Misao winning and Rika pulling out a victory here and Himawari pulling out a victory over Wakana, I think anything is possible. We will also see Toga take on Mihiro Kiryu. These two have also met once before, that previous contest going to Mihiro. Then we will see probably one that I am most excited about, Miyu Watanabe going one-on-one with Yuki Aino. They've met 4 times before. Miyu Watanabe has won 3 of those. Aino has won 1 of those contests. Most recently, they met in that really terrific Princess of Princess title match back in October at Additional Attack. When I was on, or actually when I had Talk Joshi on for the mega preview episode for the Tokyo Princess Cup, Matt and Andy and I were talking quite a bit about that match because that match is just kind of came out of nowhere. Obviously, both of those women are so talented, but just the aggression and I think it was Miu that just took a shoulder tackle and like went flying into the first row of Corcoran Hall. Just a tremendous match. I have to go back and watch that one, but I'm really, really excited for the rematch, as it were, here between Miu and Aino. And then in what I imagine will be the main event, the fourth match here, the fourth singles match, we'll see Yuki Arai take on Shoko Nakajima. These two have met once before. Shoko is the one that holds that victory. This is another one that I've got circled. I think it can go either way. In my bracket prediction, I did predict that Shoko would get the victory here, and then maybe she would proceed to get a title shot in the future, whether or not she wins the Princess Cup. But, usually you pin the champion. That qualifies you to some degree to get a title shot. I think it could be fun. I think it could be an interesting way to get Yuki Arai out of the tournament. I would be very, very surprised if Yuki Arai wins this tournament. But I wouldn't be surprised if she advances past Shoko either. I'm just going to roll with kind of the more exciting pick in Shoko Nakajima. So again, like I say, this has already taken place. So as I'm previewing this, you may or may not already know the results. You may or may not have already watched this show on Wrestle Universe. Myself, I will likely be watching it either Friday night or Saturday morning, just based on my schedule. It's been a very, very long week at my day job, but I'm really looking forward to this. Also this weekend, we have Love and Peace, the Tokyo Idol Festival Pro Wrestling event. This is a collaboration with the Tokyo Idol Festival, which is taking place in Japan. I think it's of course it's in Tokyo. What am I saying? It's called the Tokyo Idol Festival. That was dumb. Tokyo Idol Festival in Tokyo. Basically what this is it's a giant music festival, but it's all idol music. So if you go on to the Tokyo Idol Festival website, you can see like the rundown of all of the idol groups that are going to be there. And as I was doing research for this, there is, easy like 50 different idol groups that are going to be performing at this festival. This is obviously a huge deal in Japan, idols and idol groups. Idols are obviously a huge deal for TJPW as well. They've been a part of the show since the very, very beginning. So this is a collaboration really made in heaven here for TJPW and the Tokyo Idol Festival. So what will this collaboration look like? You might be asking. Well, TJPW is going to be running a variety of wrestling matches. This festival is going to be taking place all this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And on each of those days, TJPW is going to be running a morning event and an afternoon event. There are 2 matches for each segment on each day. So we'll talk through them. Now, I don't think that these are going to be, they're certainly not live streamed on Wrestle Universe. I don't think that they're going to be like recorded and put up on Wrestle Universe. As far as I can see, there is no announcement of being able to watch these based on some of the materials that TJPW is putting out. And looking at Wrestle Universe on the scheduling page, these are not scheduled to be released either. So these might be just more of a fun, collaborative, like offline thing, if you will. But based on some of these matches, I had to talk about them. So we'll do a quick little hitter preview here. And then next week, we'll talk about the results if they truly end up mattering or not. So on Friday, July 31st, the morning session, we'll see a tag team contest. Daisy Monkey's going to team together. They're going to take on Shion Kanzaki and Toga. And then there will be a timed entry battle royal. The competitors of that battle royal will be Pam Harajuku, Uda Takami, Mizuki, Wakana Uehara, Yuki Arai, Sakura Hattori, Mihiro Kiryu, Marika Kobashi. That's an exciting one. And then a woman by the name of Amanda, who is an idol from the idol group KLP48. She will be making her wrestling debut. In the afternoon session on Friday, we will have another tag match. Daydream will take on Chika Nanase and Haru Kazushiro. Daydream, current Princess Tag title champions. There will also be a 6-woman tag team matchup. Mifu Ashida, Miyu Yamashita, and Ren Kanatsu going to be teaming together. They're going to have an idol in their corner by the name of Ai Asakura from the idol group Neo Japanism. And then they're going to take on the team of Yuki Aino and Kiraku Kiyome, Shoko Nakajima, and Hyper Misao. They will also have an idol in their corner by the name of Shiori Futaba from the idol group called Congrazi. I don't know if that's supposed to be Italian, but that's how I read it. I'm Italian, so Congrazi is the way I read that idol group name. Then on Saturday, August 1st, the morning session, we'll see a tag match. Sakura Hattori and Toga teaming together. They're going to take on Wakana Uehara and Chika Nanase. There will also be a battle royal on this morning session. The likes of Shoko Nakajima, Pam Harajuku, Rika Tatsumi, Risu Endo, Himawari, Miyu Watanabe, Uda Takami, Yuki Aino, and then we will see another idol make their wrestling debut in this Saturday morning battle royal, Reina Seiji from the idol group NGT48. In the Saturday afternoon session, hang with me guys, because this is where things get really crazy. There will be a tag match, Yuki Arai and Shino Suzuki teaming together. They will have an idol in their corner. I'm going to butcher this name, so I apologize in advance. Zarachachioni Saito from the idol group Fishbowl. They're going to take on the team of Haru Kazushiro and Hyper Misao. They will have an idol by the name of Ryo Omori from Mascarpiece. I could be totally butchering these idol group names. If you're a big idol fan, please correct me. I'm more than happy to learn. I just don't know much about the idol world or idol groups in Japan. Also on this Saturday, August 1st afternoon show, we will have a 6-animal tag team match. Yes, you heard me correctly, a 6-animal tag team match. One team will see Ren Kanatsu, I suppose she's a sheep, Raku, no idea what animal she represents, and Mizuki, who is, of course, the popping sugar rabbit. On the other side, Miyu Yamashita, no animal there. Mihiro Kiryu, no animal there. But don't you worry, because Miyu and Mihiro's tag partner is Tama. Now, Tama is a bipedal seal. That means he walks around on two legs. He is a bipedal seal and a self-proclaimed social misfit from an education TV show about working part-time jobs. Guys, you literally cannot make this stuff up. This is true. This is who is going to be wrestling in this match, or what is going to be wrestling in this match. Tama, the bipedal seal and self-proclaimed social misfit from an educational TV show about working part-time jobs. I have to imagine it's Tama's wrestling debut. If you know of a wrestling match with Tama in it, please send it my way, because I would absolutely love to do some homework for this. We come back down to earth slightly on Sunday, August 2nd in the morning session. There's a tag match with Shoko Nakajima and Yuki Aino taking on Momo Sato and Wakana Uehara. Then there is a 6-woman tag team match. Yes, a 6-woman tag team match. No more animals. Kick Slash will be teaming together with Marika Kobashi. In all seriousness, I'm actually really intrigued by that team, and should these matches see the light of day, this is definitely one I'm going to have circled just to see how those three work together. Kick Slash and Marika Kobashi, they will have an idol in their corner by the name of Marina Kumamoto from Niji no Conquistador. They're going to take on the team of Himawari, Chika Nanase, and Toga, who are going to have 2 full idol groups in their corner, Sayonara Stay Tuned and Chum Toto. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but it seems a little bit unfair. 2 full idol groups against just 1 lone idol from Niji no Conquistador. I don't know how this works, guys. I don't know if these idol groups are big or not, but on paper, it looks very unbalanced. This wacky, crazy event will wrap up on Sunday afternoon, August 2nd, with the afternoon session. There will be a 6-woman tag team contest. Risu Endo, Yuki Arai, and Haru Kazushiro will take on Shion Kanzaki, Yuki Kamifuku, and Mizuki. And then there will be a tag team contest, Raku Palm, and in their corner, they will have Ayura Amano from Up Up Girls 2. They're going to take on Miyu Watanabe and Uda Takami. They will have in their corner Aya Kajishima, also from Up Up Girls 2. This is wild, guys. Like, I truly was losing my mind writing some of this stuff down, and I mean, there's a small part of me that would love to watch a lot of this just out of morbid curiosity. Maybe someone that attends these events will upload some clips on YouTube or social media or something like that. If you happen to see anything, please send it my way or tag me in it, because I don't know, the whole idea seems fun. The Tokyo Idol Festival seems like a big deal. Seems like a match made in heaven, like I said, for TJPW. And I mean, I'll just cut to the chase. Truthfully, I just want to see Tama, the bipedal seal, wrestle a match. And I can't wait to see him team with Miyu Yamashita and Mihiro Kiryu. Like, what the hell, guys? So that's Love and Peace. the Tokyo Idol Festival Pro Wrestling event 2026 happening this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Before we wrap up the day, though, let's go ahead and talk about a couple of excursions that we're going to check in on. The first of which went down on Saturday, July 18th. It's about 2 weeks ago now. This was Kira Summer's Australian debut at Adelaide Championship Wrestling, their show called Heart of War. Now, I bring this one back up because this event was recently uploaded on the ACW YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube and you search ACW Heart of War or Adelaide Championship Wrestling, it'll come right up. It is not behind a paywall. It's just a free show. It's about 2 hours. I only checked out the Kira Summer match, but there's a lot of other men's and women's action also included on this show. Kira wrestled in a singles contest against her sister, Miki Fortune, in a match that was billed sister versus sister. Now, this was a pretty good match, I have to say. Obviously, they have a lot of chemistry because they're real-life sisters. I'm sure they've wrestled around with one another kind of growing up more than once, but the thing that really drew me in here was how interesting it was to see Kira outside of TJPW working like a slightly different style in a very, very different environment. She had a number of submission holds that I hadn't seen her use before. She hit a crossbody to the floor, which is something I hadn't seen her do before. Just a really interesting peek into Kira outside of the TJPW ecosystem. Kira started out on offense in this one before the momentum shifted over to Miki. At one point, their third sister, I guess there's a third sister in the family, she appeared at ringside and Miki slapped her in the face and started to attack her. She pulled her over the barrier, and then the third sister was basically like chastising Miki, and so it kind of fired her up to attack her. And then their mom was there. The mom started to get involved too. I couldn't really follow a lot of the family drama of what was going on, but Kira did eventually win this with an inside cradle pin in 16 minutes and 26 seconds. I'm not going to lie and say this was like a great match or anything, but this is definitely the best Kira Summer match I've ever seen. I know it's a small sample size, but it just was so interesting to see her wrestle outside of the construct of TJPW. It was like, it's almost as if like the handcuffs came off and she could just show what she could do. And I don't mean that as a knock against TJPW. And, you know, when you wrestle for a Japanese company and a Japanese women's company, there's a hierarchy and you're placed on a certain part of the card and you have to earn your way up. You have to earn your way, you know, earn your seniors' respect. And then as more juniors come in below you, you start to shift up the card a little bit. It's just the hierarchy system of how it works. But I would encourage you to check this out. Again, just go to YouTube, search ACW Heart of War. You know, keep your expectations in check. Like I say, it's nothing astronomically incredible, but very, very interesting to see this Kira Summer match. I came away very impressed, and I hope that this tour, I hope kind of coming out of this tour, that Kira's given a few more opportunities. We've talked on the show a few times about how Kira is starting to hone her offense and really utilize her power, because that's something that really differentiates her from a lot of the other TJPW women. So very, very impressed here. Kira Summer, Miki Fortune, ACW, Heart of War. The other event I want to talk about, I guess it's not technically an excursion because none of these people are full-time TJPW wrestlers, but on Sunday, July 26th, I had the absolute pleasure of going to Kitsune, Kitsune's return for the first time in over a year. Stay With Me. Very, very fun show. Lots of great wrestling matches were on this show. I believe that Kitsune announced that they're going to be uploading this onto YouTube as well. As far as I've seen at my time of recording, I haven't seen it up there just yet, but I'm going to be looking for that one. But once that's up, highly recommend you guys go and check out this show, Kitsune Stay With Me. My report from on the ground, it was a very hot day. It was like 85, 90 degrees outside in this part of LA, and this very old gymnasium did not have air conditioning, and it was even hotter inside. But kudos to the promoter. His name is Eric. Eric is doing a tremendous job with Kitsune and the return of Kitsune. Eric was a genius, and he handed out paper fans to everybody. And my goodness, those paper fans were a lifesaver. It got me through the show. It got a lot of people through the show. There was a really great main event. Emi Sakura defeated Zara Zacher. Both of those two ladies have wrestled in TJPW before. So that was really great. Viva Van was there. Viva Van also has wrestled in TJPW before. Viva Van won her match. And then probably the strongest TJPW connection, Sayuri Namba, was the MC. She popped in from time to time, making a few special announcements and talking about the August show for Kitsune. There was a host of other women on the show from different indie promotions, some luchadoras. Truthfully, going into this, when I sat down, I was like, it's so hot in here. I think some of these ladies are maybe going to go at half speed. Absolutely nobody went at half speed. All of these women busted their butts in this very hot gymnasium, and kudos to every single person who wrestled on this show. They did a tremendous job. It was a heck of a lot of fun. Like I say, highly encourage you to watch this one when it hits YouTube. Afterwards, there was a meet and greet, so just going to run through who I had the pleasure of meeting. First, I met Emi Sakura. Emi was an absolute delight. I brought my 2026 BBM card with me, and I was like, oh, I'll get this signed when I meet her. And when she took it from me, she was staring at it for like a solid 10 seconds. And that doesn't sound like a long time, but if you hit pause on me right now and you count 10 seconds, that's a long time to just be sitting there silently. My heart sunk because I was like, oh my God, I brought the wrong card. Like, I was moving too quickly before I left the house and I grabbed the wrong card. I panicked for a second. Emi looks up at me after looking at the card and she's like, when is this from? And I was like, it's 2026. It's this year. And she was looking at it and she goes, oh, I haven't seen it before. I was like, oh my God, thank God I brought the right card. But also, she's never seen it before. That's crazy. It was such a lovely interaction with Emi. We were talking about all sorts of things. We took a photograph together, and she ended up giving me an extra BBM card as well. I think it was from like 2023 or something. But such a wonderful woman, obviously a legend of the game. If you ever have the opportunity to see Emi Sakura wrestle, definitely go do it, because I don't think there's very many years left in her career, just given, she's been wrestling for decades. But certainly take advantage of that opportunity if you get the chance to. I also met Viva Van. Viva was incredibly cool. We took a picture together. I ended up buying a sticker from her. She had some really cute merch. Viva, super, super cool person, and obviously one heck of a wrestler. She had a great match. And then, of course, had to meet Sayuri Namba. I've met Sayuri Namba a couple of times this year, and it's funny because going into the year, I had never met Sayuri, and I figured I never would because she graduated TJPW, and I don't know, Sayuri's always been one of my favorites. I think she is just synonymous with what TJPW is all about. She embodies TJPW so well. And when she graduated last year, I was like, well, that's probably it. I'm probably never meeting Sayuri Namba. Then she got announced for Texas, and I got to meet her in March. Then she got announced for Vegas, and I got to meet her in April. And then she got announced for Kitsune, and I got to meet her in July. And so it's just been such a turn of events. But such a joy. It has made me so happy to be able to meet her and chat with her. She's a lovely person. Right when I walked up to her, she was like, oh my God, it's nice to see you again. And we started chatting about the show and Texas, and if she's going to be on the December Texas show, which is TBD, it sounds like. Crossing my fingers there. She did confirm to me that she is going back to Japan. The way that she phrased it was, for good for now, which I guess means that, the door is always open if she's going to decide to return back to Canada or the US or whatever. But for now, moving back to Japan, and she doesn't quite know what's next for her. So we'll have to wait and see and keep our eyes on Sayuri Namba, but she's the best. It was so nice to be able to meet her and chat with her again. And I'll cross my fingers that we'll see her in Texas in December. Before I move on, I just want to give a couple of quick shout outs to you guys. While I was there, able to spend some time with the wrestling enthusiast, Eric Peralta. Talked about Eric a couple of times. Give him a follow on social media. That man goes to 1.5 million wrestling shows. He's one of the hardest working people watching wrestling out there, and a heck of a nice guy. Also want to give shout outs to Chris, Tony, Brian, and Brandon. Super cool to be able to chat with you guys. There was a guy that sat in front of me for this whole show, and if you're listening, I'm so sorry because I didn't ask your name and I should have. But the guy that sat in front of me for the whole show, I gave you a sticker. Shout outs to you as well. You told me you listened to every episode. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And then a special shout out, of course, to the promoter, Eric, Eric put on one heck of a show. It's so great to see Kitsune back. Really, really excited and looking forward to next month's Kitsune show, which is a perfect segue because let's talk about that real quick. On Sunday, August 30th, Kitsune Goes Hollywood. They are going to have Yuki Kamifuku and Alexis Lee on their show. Obviously Yuki is TJPW wrestler, but Alexis, someone who has been in TJPW quite often. We had a chance to speak with her in Las Vegas a few times. Alexis is one of the coolest people in the world, so very, very excited for that. Kitsune has also announced Gabby Forza as well. Will be on that August 30th show. If you are in the LA area, I highly encourage you to go to this. Come prepared with some water and whatnot because it will be at the same venue. But this show here in July was fantastic, and I have the same expectations for August, and I think that those expectations will be met. Additionally, some other bits and bobs here for Excursions. This week on Friday, July 31st, Kira Summers continuing her Australian excursion. She's wrestling for Peak Pro Wrestling on their show called Punk Fiction. She's going to be taking on a competitor by the name of Tarly. From what I see, Peak Pro Wrestling puts their videos on YouTube as well. So potentially we'll be able to watch that one. And then the very next day on August 1st, Riot City Wrestling, Mean Street Mayhem number 66 from Riot with Love. Kira Summers is going to be in a tag match. Her partner will be Havoc, and they're going to face off against her sister Miki Fortune and Zach Sabbath. From what I've seen, Riot City also posts their shows onto YouTube, so we'll have to see if this one becomes available to watch. And then a couple other quick hitters on Friday, August 28th. Eve is having their second iteration of Eve X The World, called Eve X The World 2. This is the show where Miyu Yamashita will be defending her Eve International title, her first defense of this title. She's going to take on Kaylee Ray, the former Alba Fire from WWE, or Kaylee Ray if you knew her from her first time in Eve or in NXT UK. I am really excited for this. Eve shows are on YouTube, but they are behind a monthly membership. I think it's like $8 or $10 or something. Eve versus the World, though, there's a host of other matches that they've been announcing, and that show looks really, really great as well. And then lastly, the final one, looking forward into September 18th, Mizuki is going to be traveling to Singapore. She's going to be wrestling on the Singapore Pro Wrestling Overdrive show. That's super exciting. Singapore Pro Wrestling, I believe that's where Alexis Lee wrestles out of, so maybe she'll wrestle Alexis Lee. We'll have to wait and see. But that's going to wrap up all of our excursion talk. Once again, can't recommend the Kira Summer Australia match enough. I think that was just such a pleasant surprise. And once the Kitsune show comes onto YouTube, definitely check that out. And like I say, if you're in the LA area, go to Kitsune Goes Hollywood on August 30th. You're going to have one heck of a time, I promise you. And it's a chance to see Yuki Kamifuku one more time before she retires. If you can't make it out to Texas in December, definitely make it out to LA and go to this Kitsune show. That said, that is going to bring us to the end of this week's episode. I'm going to give all of my cold spray and ice packs to all of the terrific ladies who wrestled at Kitsune because of the effort that was put into that show without air conditioning. They have all earned much, much respect. On next week's episode, we're going to review the second half of the second round of the Tokyo Princess Cup. We're going to know all 4 matches for the quarterfinal round coming out of that. We're also going to preview the quarterfinal show next week. That's going to come up next weekend. We'll also check in on more of Kira Summers' excursion, see if we can find some results from the Love and Peace matches. Again, if you see anything, send it my way. I really want to know if the Seal wins. I hope you enjoyed the show today. If you did, you can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss any future episodes. You can follow us at Tokyo Joshi Pod on Instagram, TikTok, and X. If you want to email the show, tokyojoshiPod@gmail.com. But above all else, remember to keep your hearts burning, stay magical, my friends, and we'll see you next week on the Tokyo Joshi Pod.